So we are with Don Cameron, the operator of Terra Nova Ranch, just southwest of Fresno in the town of Helm. Mr. Cameron, tell us a little bit first about some of the different crops that you grow.
Well, we grow about 25 different crops here, from walnuts, almonds, pistachios, wine grapes, to tomatoes, carrots, onions. We do about 700 acres of organic production, same type of crops, so we get pretty diversified here.
And the peppers for my favorite, sriracha sauce.
Yeah, we also grow some hot jalapenos that go to the sriracha guys, so yeah.
Excellent. So you made an interesting discovery back in 2011 when it comes to how to manage the groundwater on your land here. Tell us a little bit about what you discovered.
Well, in our area and on our farm, we really are, rely heavily on groundwater. During the drought, you know, we really have extracted a lot of groundwater throughout the state. But in 2011, the last time we had floodwater on the North Fork of the Kings River, we did a real specific test where we flooded wine grapes, and we flooded some of the open fields here for direct recharge. We had some of the wine grapes with a foot and a half of water from late January all the way to the end of May. And we had a lot of skeptics at the time, and we watched the grapes grow. They didn't have problems until we got into some real warm weather toward the end of May, early June, where we finally pulled the water off and allowed the grapes to continue to mature and produce a normal crop. So,
now, this is going to seem kind of like an obvious question, but what's the value of flooding these fields in terms of maintaining your water supply?
Well, we know that our groundwater is declining, and by putting floodwater on these fields, like we have on the almond field behind us, we're allowing the floodwater to reach the underground water supply and start to rebuild what's been pumped over the years. So we just think it's a natural fit. It's a fairly new concept that we brought to the forefront back in 2011, and we're using it to flood the almonds. We have walnuts, wine grapes. We're doing it on olives. We've done it on fields before we planted the tomatoes. We put borders up. They look like rice fields, but we let the water go down and then work the ground and put the other crops on there.
Now, so, by doing that, what will that do for you, say, if we have a dry year next year?
What we hope is that this is going to add a lot more resiliency to our farm and to the area surrounding us here. We think that we'll be rebuilding the water supply so that when we go through droughts, as we have in the past, we'll be able to get through them in much better shape. So, now that, and now we have sustainable groundwater management that we're dealing with, which mandates that all the basins throughout California are sustainable. So bottom line, you can't pump out more water than is being replaced. So it's a natural fit for sustainable groundwater management.
Now, you were doing this before sustainable groundwater management kicked in. How is that going to affect what you're trying to do here?
I think we did start back. We've been at this in one form or another for the last 20 years. But in 2011, we really did a very scientific study here. With sustainable groundwater management, it's brought to the forefront this type of project, and we think it can be duplicated throughout throughout California. And we think that a lot more people are taking notice of it, because we need solutions, and trying to build a dam in California is a very slow and difficult process. Not to say it can't be done and that it isn't needed, but we have a huge reservoir under our feet, and we think we can refill the aquifer and store this water for when we go through dry periods here.
Now, are some of the neighboring farms starting to buy into the idea and match what you're doing?
Yep, we've got other neighbors that have come by. They've looked to see what we've done here, and they're duplicating the same process. And they're flooding their grapes, they're flooding their trees, and they're recharging groundwater. So it's great to see it adopted, and I think it's a real promising solution for California.
So what's the State Department of Water Resources think about this as they're trying to form this new system of not only statewide groundwater management, but also the regional management that goes with it?
With sustainable groundwater management, they have left it up to the local agencies to figure out how to implement sustainable groundwater management and really how to recharge and really fix some of the problems that are throughout the state. But they've left it to the local people to make the decisions, and this idea is really catching on quickly, and I think it's going to be one of the main ways we're going to be able to obtain sustainable groundwater management throughout California.
How's it going to do in terms of keeping your all of your land working?
Well, that's the goal. If we don't correct the groundwater problem, there's going to be ground idled throughout the state. There's no way around it. We're going to have to reduce pumping, and that means we're going to reduce jobs out in the disadvantaged communities here where they're really needed. People out here rely on agriculture for their work, and anytime we don't have water, that means fewer jobs, less money for the economy, for the local county, and for the local communities. So it affects everybody. I know, a couple of years ago, as we went through the drought, 5 miles from here, there were long food lines. People lined up just trying to get enough food to make it through the week. So it's sad to see in such an abundant agricultural area. It really is. So we hope to keep the ground in production long term, provide jobs, and help the local economy here.
All right, Don Cameron, Terra Nova Ranch. Next time you're cracking open a pistachio or you're pouring sriracha on your Chinese food, remember where that comes from. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.